people in the country need to know that we're busy at work trying to solve their problems. So I realize that there's a lot in the media these days. That doesn't seize up Congress. That doesn't stop us from doing our jobs to work on people's problems. It's very important that people know that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And sure, drama is not helpful in getting things done, but we're still getting things done.
Really? Oh, sometimes I wonder about that. Anyway, House Speaker Paul Ryan reacting there to the seemingly never-ending scandals that are coming out of Washington. Some Republicans are quite worried about the agenda that they're trying to get accomplished right now and whether or not it's going to be stalled because of the big circus going on. Here you get Senator Lindsey Graham saying, and I quote, "I think the legislative process is pretty much ground to a halt until you get the Comey episode dealt with." Really? For the most part, though, Republicans, they are standing by the president, especially those whose districts voted for Trump in November, saying they have, quote, "not seen anything that is that alarming." They're calling him the victim, and they're accusing the media of barking up the wrong tree. There you have various members of the GOP saying these things. In fact, despite all the hype of the last 2 weeks, President Trump's approval rating, it hasn't really moved. Joining me right now, Republican Congressman Sean Duffy of Wisconsin. Good to have you back on the show. Good to see you, Congressman.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, Trish. Thanks for having me on.
All right. So, can Congress get its job done with all these scandals going on simultaneously?
Yeah, listen, Paul Ryan was spot on. I turn on my TV in my office, and the media is frothing at the mouth, trying to whip America up into a frenzy. We see that, but every day we get up and go to work to try to improve the American economy, which is to implement our Republican agenda, which in the end helps people back in Wisconsin and my district with more opportunity and more jobs. I think it's interesting, Trish. Yesterday you saw the markets think that our agenda could be in jeopardy, and the market tanks. When they see that actually that might not be the case, that we might be able to still get health care done and tax done, it pops back up because this is an agenda that's good for the American economy and good for the American people.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know what? You and I, we're in sync on that in terms of the agenda, the economic agenda. We need growth restored to this economy, and we are all hopeful that this gets done soon. But in terms of the ability to do it, what I'm wondering, Congressman, is if the market is sort of shrugging off the special prosecutor to a certain extent today. They were a little worried about the potential it might come yesterday. They sold off, perhaps in anticipation of that. Then you had the news coming at 6 o'clock last night, and what do you know? We're up triple digits. So there's almost this sense of, all right, well, things will be fine. We're going to keep moving along, plugging ahead, and you want to be invested because you don't want to miss it.
So here's the thing that's interesting. If you go back 4 months, Democrats were never in favor of the Trump presidency or the Trump agenda. Right. They've been decimated in states and in the federal government. But the American people have bought into this agenda. We're moving forward, and we knew Democrats were never going to support us. So at the beginning, they didn't support it. They don't support it now. Nothing has changed in the course of the last 4 months. So we're going to move. We're going to keep moving forward. Yeah.
You say nothing has changed. I think that there's a component to that as well in terms of Americans' fatigue with the media, right? In other words, it's just one thing after another. The news cycle, it just doesn't stop. And you get the media jumping up and down constantly, trying to point fingers. And I wonder, Congressman, if everyday Americans, especially those that voted for Donald Trump, are saying, okay, enough. It's all sounding the same.
I think it's less about fake news than it is about news networks that don't show you both sides of the story or present one set of facts to drive a certain narrative. I would ask, what evidence is there that Donald Trump colluded with Russia? What evidence has ever been put out? There's no evidence. And what we've seen is there's been so many leaks that have come from every segment of the government against Donald Trump. If something was there, Clapper would have it. Obama would have had it, and they would have put this information out. It would have been leaked. We would have seen it. I don't think there's anything there. I think the markets see that. I think most people here see that. What Democrats are doing, though, is they're using this as a tactic to stall a great agenda that's going to help the American economy.
I think you're onto something. We talked to an investor yesterday who basically expressed a very similar thing, saying, look, if it was that bad, the markets would be selling off in a much bigger way. Forget 375 points. You'd be off, better than 1,000. So I think there's something to that. The markets are just saying, okay, we can deal with this.
That's right.
But, overall, how long do you think it's going to take? I think that's one of the concerns, right? How long are we going to be dealing with this distraction?
Oh, listen, Democrats aren't going to stop. They hate Donald Trump. This is going to continue as long as they can keep the ball rolling. But I would just point to you, last week in financial services, we passed a repeal and replace of Dodd-Frank. It's going to make it to the floor in June. We're rewriting flood insurance. We're looking to July. We're going to do GSE reform. I mean, we have a big, bold agenda. This hasn't stopped any of it. You now see the Senate has a health care bill. We're starting to work on appropriations. We're starting to work on taxes. None of this foaming at the mouth with the media has done anything to tamp down our progress to actually help save the American people economically. And again, I think that there's a narrative out there that comes from the left that wants to be hopeful that we'll get off this agenda, because what we're really doing is remaking the whole Obama agenda. We're undoing it. And so as Democrats focus on Russia and Comey, we're actually focused on policies that help people. We're rolling back rules and regulations. We're going to do the Keystone Pipeline.
You need unification, though. You can't have these folks splintering off and saying they want to, within the Republican Party, secretly hoping that somehow Donald Trump gets impeached, because, that's their goal.
Hey, Trish, there's what's called the USS Donald Trump. And if that ship goes down, there's no lifeboats for any members of Congress. They're all going down with it. So if they want to punch holes in it, that's fine.
No,
but listen,
look,
we're going to rise together and get this agenda done together. And you're right, people have to stick on board to make sure we're getting tax and health care done.
I'll tell you, you'll have a very angry base if for some reason some Republicans do try and take them down. Anyway, Congressman, it's good to see you. Thank you very much.
You too, Trish. Have a good one.